Scientists are calling for widespread testing for North Georgia families who were exposed to dangerous chemicals through the water they drink.
Investigator Andy Parati joins us live at 5 in Rome, about 60 miles northwest of Atlanta. So, Andy, this is all in response to your investigation that uncovered high levels of cancer-causing chemicals in some of the residents' blood.
Yeah, that's right. When city officials discovered the toxin in the drinking water 8 years ago, they did the right thing. They took action by changing its water source, suing the suspected contaminator, and started looking into new filtration systems. But no agency has ever tried to measure the impact on the people who drank the water for decades. So, Atlanta News First did.
Alvin Jackson is on his way to see one of the crown jewels of North Georgia, the Oostanala River that flows through the city of Rome, providing drinking water to thousands of homes.
We swam in it, we fished in it. The river's always been one of our richest resources.
But then, in 2016, state environmental officials identified elevated levels of a toxic chemical in the river called perfluoroalkyl, or PFAS for short. It's man-made and known as the forever chemical because it does not break down naturally. PFAS is used in hundreds of household products to make things water and stain resistant, including nonstick cookware, food packaging, and carpeting. According to a recently settled lawsuit, the chemicals in Rome's water came from carpet manufacturers and chemical companies upriver.
What does this lead to? What is it going to do to me?
Exposure to PFAS has been linked to severe illness, including high cholesterol, thyroid disease, and cancer. And while the city changed its water source 8 years ago, state health officials have never tried to measure the impact on the people living there. The Georgia Department of Public Health telling Atlanta News First in July it does not have plans at this time to conduct testing, saying most people in the United States have measurable amounts of PFAS in their blood. So, we decided to try to measure the exposure ourselves, purchasing these testing kits from a company called Eurofins. It's developed the first direct-to-consumer at-home PFAS blood test. And this past September,
today's the 22nd.
We asked 11 Rome area residents to participate, people who have lived in the area for at least 20 years.
1, 2, 3, go. Do it at the side of the finger. Yeah, that's great.
I hate this part.
Really hard.
It really didn't hurt at all.
I mean, a little finger prick is nothing. Hopefully our results are going to prove that it's not anything that's real serious, but we need to know.
A few weeks later, the results arrived, revealing every participant with some level of PFAS in their blood. That was expected, but the amount of PFAS detected in their blood raises concern. Nearly all of the participants have higher levels than the national median. Alvin's PFAS levels were the highest of all the participants, nearly 7 times the national median.
So I'm wondering, how is this going to affect me directly? Am I going to develop some type of cancer or some type of disease,
The participant with the lowest PFAS levels, Callie Swafford, and it was no surprise to her. For nearly 10 years, her drinking water has come exclusively from a natural spring outside the city.
The proof is in the pudding.
So it's validating for you that
Yeah, absolutely.
And you would expect it to be elevated, I think?
We asked 3 scientists with extensive backgrounds in PFAS research to review the results. Dr. Dana Barr, a professor at Emory University's School of Public Health, Dr. Jane Hoppin with North Carolina State University, and Dr. David Andrews with the Environmental Working Group, a nonprofit advocacy organization.
These are the reports.
Dr. Barr traveled to Rome to provide her perspective in person.
I think you could use this information to go to the city or to the state and say, we want an exposure study done in this area. And I think that it warrants it given this information.
Dr. Hoppin and Dr. Andrews agree.
Everybody should be tested, particularly in communities where we know that the water has been contaminated. You've opened your eyes, you've opened this community's eyes.
If you worked for Georgia's Department of Health and you saw these results, how would you be responding?
I think they should be concerned, and I think they should be responding in terms of thinking about what are the action plans for this community and what needs to be done.
By a raise of hands, how many people want the state to do more testing?
Despite the results, the state's health department's decision remains the same. It does not have plans to conduct blood testing, adding without direct oversight and knowledge of how the tests were administered, it would be irresponsible for DPH to comment on the results.
And Andy, what about everyone else in Rome, in that area, who still has not been tested? What are they going to do?
Tracy, unfortunately, the test is very expensive and most insurance companies do not cover it. That's why scientists want some agency to conduct some sort of exposure study to determine how many other residents here have elevated levels of the chemical in their blood. You can purchase it yourself from a company called Eurofins. We have a link to their website in this story on AtlantaNewsFirst.com. Live in Rome, Andy Parati, Atlanta News First.